Hello my friends, welcome back to another mapping video. Today we are talking about Bulgaria's treaty in World War I. If you don't know, this series is about my community, my viewers, my subs, voting on how they want World War I to end. How will the Treaty of Versailles end? How will the treaty with Austria end? How will the treaty with Bulgaria end? How will the treaty with the Ottomans end? And then lastly, what's going to happen with Russia? These are questions we've been asking, and we've done 2 of these so far. We've done Versailles, so we have already punished Germany, but as you can see, they were punished less so than in our timeline. And we've already done the Treaty of Austria. As you can see, Yugoslavia exists, but Austria has kept the Sudetenland. Czechoslovakia is a thing, although it is weaker, and Hungary has gained some lands. In southern Slovakia and Carpathia, and they have kept North Transylvania. They've also kept some territories over here. Overall, a very interesting choice for you guys, but today we're dealing with the smallest central power, and that is Bulgaria. Now, in real life, the Bulgarian treaty was pretty simple. They lost access to the Aegean, and they lost some territories in the west to Yugo, notably the area of Strmka, and then a smaller area dotted along the border, kind of a border adjustment, so to say. But overall, they came out okay. Now, if you compare that to what they looked like before the Second Balkan War, this sucks for them. But they came out okay if you were just looking at 1914 to 1918, what happened. Anyway, you guys are not the people in the chairs historically. You are your own people. You are basing your stuff on hindsight, how things would be if this happened. Maybe World War II would be avoided, maybe Bulgaria's entry into World War II would be avoided, or maybe you just want to see Bulgaria die, or you just want to see Bulgaria grow. Whatever your reasonings are, I have votes tallied up here from you guys. I have 161 responses on this, which makes sense for such a small power, for there not to be as much interest here, and I have a bunch of questions here that you guys voted on. Now, the first question is about the Western Outlands, and that are these small border adjustments here, not the city of Strmka, but the other ones. And you guys voted overwhelmingly to keep them. No, don't do small changes, and I thank you for it, because that would be really annoying in paint.net, which is what I'm using to make those. So, okay, that is the first one. We're going to keep going with these Western territories, and we are going to discuss, let's see here, let's discuss Strmka. That is this southern area, remember? And you guys have voted to cede it, actually. So very interesting. This is going to be ceded to Yugo. Alright, small change done. Can you see where the change is? Probably not. But this small territory is now Yugo's. Let's keep going with Macedonia, and let's see what's going to happen with Vardar, Macedonia. Now, Vardar, Macedonia is the area for... Now, Vardar might be a typo here. I'm not quite sure, because this says Prim Macedonia, or Pirin Macedonia, but it does say the one in blue, so I'm hoping people read that. That is this area of Bulgaria. As you can see, it's quite a substantial area, and it is up for the chopping block here. I have a couple options. Yes, it should be ceded. Bulgaria keeps tweaking. No, it should be left alone. Or I have more extreme options. It should be kept. In addition, this part of Macedonia should be given to Bulgaria. And I have the same option, but also including this part of Macedonia. This would be huge. I doubt that would win. Although, again, this seems to be extremes versus extremes here. People don't usually vote for the more moderate option. And in this case, we have 11.8% for it should be kept. In addition, Macedonia should be given to Bulgaria, so that's intense. Actually, a lot more, like I said just a second ago, more extreme, more votes for the one including all of Macedonia. But what ended up being won in the end was, yes, it should be ceded. Bulgaria keeps tweaking, man. Very close between that and that. You can see it's a difference of 5 votes there between these two. And I also had this follow-up question. If you believe it should be ceded, who should gain it? And a majority of you said Greece. Interesting. Let's make it happen. Alright, so here we are. I guess Greece bros are quite happy, and this might merge well with the Turkey video in the future. I'm not sure, but this is definitely a very odd looking border here, but it's what you guys voted for, and that's what this is about. That is what this is about. Let's wrap it up by lastly discussing this part of Macedonia, which at the time was very much believed to be Bulgarian. Macedonians and Bulgarians were kind of viewed as the same thing, and sometimes people view them as the same today. Interesting. I won't comment on it. I'm not too educated in that, so I don't really have an opinion, but let's see what will happen here. Hopefully, no border gore. Alright, here is the Macedonia question. I included an ethnic map, which is another cool thing. I've added maps to these now. which helps a lot. And there's a couple options for what to do with Macedonia and the quote-unquote Bulgarians that are in Macedonia, which is this green right here, or greenish-blue. The question is, should we gain it? They lost the war? No way. Grant the Bulgarian majority regions to Bulgaria, or form an independent Macedonia split from Yugoslavia. Another interesting option. I wonder what everyone voted for. 42.9% of you voted to grant Bulgarian majority regions to Bulgaria, while you also voted to give this to Greece. That means this border, it might not be the best border in the world. But what can you do? That's what this video is about. It's about looking at what you guys want, and if this is what you guys want, sure, I will give you what you want. Don't be upset about it. Let's try to make this happen and try to see how this border would look. My God, this is what we're left with. This is how Macedonia is going to look based on your guys' votes. This is a choice. I guess you could just say, hey, it's just a nice thing to give Greece, a nice reward to Greece, although this actually does take away a little bit of Greek Macedonia as well, not much. And the border with Yugo is definitely interesting. But maybe you'll get used to it. Maybe the outline will be beautifully recognizable. Anyway, the good news is we are done with Macedonia. Let's move on to the other areas of Bulgaria that could get changes. Alright, now Western Thrace, which is this region right here, actually ends up being the most complicated vote, and by that I mean it had the most choices. So let's see how that affected things. The smallest choice was the one to give it to the League of Nations. Thank God. That option sucks. After that is 10% for it should be ceded in its entirety to Greece, which is, I have a map of it right here. This right here. And I believe that's actually the historical option. I could be wrong there, but yeah. And that got little support. Very little support. In second place, or in the next place, is Bulgaria should keep all of it. Another very hard-line choice. Got 22.4% of the vote. And this one is next, 23.6%, is grants it to Greece along with more concessions in the north. The border should be strong. This is the one that punishes Bulgaria even more. But first place is the option to try to split it ethnically. I also have a question for Eastern Thrace, the very far Eastern Thrace, and that is this area right here. It's the area that includes parts of Istanbul. It is this area right here, and there is a Bulgarian minority in these northern bits, and you guys seem to think it was fair to give that to Bulgaria. A huge amount of you, actually. Only 47 of you voted to actually occupy the whole thing and give it to Greece, and only 10% voted to change nothing, which is the historical option. 60.9% of you voted to give the Bulgarian majority regions to Bulgaria. Let's make it happen. Alrighty, I have done my magic to Western and Eastern Thrace, and you can see it's quite interesting here. Now, ethnically, there's not too many Bulgars in this area, although they're mostly in the north, so I kind of split it north and south, as you can see. And then the same was done here. There are some Bulgarian minorities that purge kind of deeper into this area, so I granted them more land here. But of course, Turkey still keeps some European territory, and they still keep Istanbul. And just look at this map. It's a very interesting map, definitely, in my opinion. Now, the last normal question is, what should be done with Dobruja? If you don't know, Dobruja consists of two areas. It consists of southern Dobruja, which is this state right here, and then northern Dobruja, which is this state right here. Now, Bulgaria has claims on both, and in World War II, they actually get southern Dobruja back just for a short while before they are defeated, and it's definitely something they have their eye on. And in this, I gave a lot of options as well. Last place is to occupy it all under the League. Again, makes sense. F the League. It got 30.7% of the vote. Next up is 19.9% of the vote, and that is Romania should keep northern Dobruja, while Bulgaria gets the south, kind of like the World War II deal. Did not happen, but 32 people voted for it. Next up, just a little bit in front of that, is 21.1%. Bulgaria should have all of it, and that includes northern Dobruja. That would be peak borders, although it would cause quite a bit of problems there. 22.4% is to split it ethnically, including enclaves, and that is an enclave because there are a lot of Bulgarians in kind of some certain sections of this, but they do not go all throughout this, so you'd end up with an enclave here, and of course a lot of territory going to the south, in the south to Bulgaria. But yeah, very interesting choice. But you guys ended up actually saying Romania should be given all of Dobruja. In other words, no change, which is definitely an interesting choice. I'm not quite sure why we're being nice to Romania now after what we've done to them last episode, but I guess people's minds change. And so with that, that is all of the normal questions for this, and I had two special questions to go along with it. It's should Bulgaria lose lands in the north to Romania. This is a very brutal option here. And you guys decided overwhelmingly, no, they don't deserve that much. And lastly, and this vote's a little bit closer, should Bulgaria be integrated into Yugoslavia? Yes, this would make all of this video pointless, but it would be quite interesting. But you guys voted no. 90 votes for no, 71 votes for yes. Got quite close, but sorry, not today. So that is it for this voting video. I know this one's short, I know this one's not as interesting, but we had to get through it. This is the last European Central Power. Now we move on to the big boy, Turkey. And this will be a very interesting video. Turkey will be a very interesting video. I'm very excited to handle the Ottomans. It's going to be very interesting. And I have one more question for you. Should border gore like this stay in this map? Or should I do something about it since it doesn't really make too much sense? Or, you know, is it, you know, if you guys voted for it, it should stay. Those are both valid opinions. If you think maybe I could also do like a runoff election where I have another vote just with one question. Should this be left the same, given all to Greece, given all to Yugo, or should this decision be reversed? I could do that as well. There are a couple different ways we could go there, but if not, this is your Bulgaria, folks. Very, very interesting in its way, beautiful, and seems to fit in with a lot of Europe so far. We do like our skinny borders, it seems. But yeah, that is about it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for my 2 members. There's a link if you want to join that program down below in the description. And that is about it. See you guys next time.